Hello, 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 everybody out there in Instagram land. How y'all doing? My name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am the host of Unicorns Talk podcast and soon to come Random Live podcast and the live event the lead event consultant for Afros and Audio. And I'm super excited to welcome you all to our Wednesday Creative Conversations. Tonight we are being joined by a beautiful, beautiful woman, but she also real smart too. So, she just add that extra little layer of things on there. But Ann Smith is going to be joining us tonight from Pod Cypher as well as Podcasters Unlimited. And we're going to have a great conversation about why we need to sometimes get help when we are in our podcasting journey, right? So we're just waiting for Ann to come on in here. If you haven't already, make sure that you follow Afros and Audio here on Instagram and get your ticket or whatever for the virtual podcast festival taking place on November 14th. Hey, Ann, go ahead and request to join, Ann. Ann has arrived. Hey, Joe. What's going on, Joe? Hey, Ty. How you doing? There we go, Ann. All right, let's get you. All right. Listen now, Instagram better not play with me tonight. There we go. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Girl, I cannot complain at all. I am so excited to be talking to you tonight, girl. It's been a while.
It has. I'm really excited to be on here. Hi, everybody. Shout out to Talib. We have not seen each other or spoken to each other since you came on our podcast, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was telling my husband earlier. I said, "Babe, I have live stream tonight." I said, and the girl that I'm interviewing, I said I was on her show. I think it's been about 2 months now. Listen, girl. Rona time just roll and roll and roll, girl. I be losing track of days and weeks and shit, so I don't be knowing. But it's been a while. You look good, girl. You look refreshed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love your outfit. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, be trying to do stuff a little different every now and again, girl. I ain't really been getting. I think I only got one retwist since the quarantine started, which I'm actually kind of happy about because it just gave my hair a chance to kind of do its own thing for a little while, But you got your little, listen, before I started my locks, that hairstyle you got, girl, that little bun thing, the little girl, that ponytail, that was my go-to because you can't go wrong. Like, it always looks good, So
you can't go wrong with it, to be honest. It's professional. Because you know how they try to say we're not professional with we're professional. Natural hair is professional.
Yes, it is.
But it's perfect for just go every day. It's perfect for the office, everything. So
it is. And you got your hoops. I was looking for my hoops, girl, but I didn't have time. By the time I thought about it, I said, "Oh, I forgot my hoops." That's another thing, you can't go wrong with a good pair of hoops,
You can. A nice go-to pair of hoops.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, and go ahead and let the people know who you are, and who you are and what it is that you do. I got ahead of myself for a second, but I'm back, girl. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and let them know who you are and what it is that you do.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Ann Smith, and I am the president of Podcasters Unlimited. That is a network that we have going on where we offer consulting to people. We offer a lot of guidance on how you can actually start your podcast. And then we don't just, send you to the wolves. We actually coach you on, how to start your podcast, what's the best way for you to, boost your listenership, look for ads. Also, just like what's the best hosting site that might fit your platform the best. And then also I am the co-organizer alongside Denise. I'm the co-organizer of Podcasters of New Jersey.
She's not in here yet, but whenever she comes.
Shout out to Denise. She's really amazing. She is also a co-organizer along with me in We talk about, just how to create your very own podcast. And we have a community of different podcasters and creatives who come together. We typically would meet monthly and discuss different trends. We would even like listen to different podcasts to, see like how they sound, what could have been done. Because a lot of times people don't really know where to start first, Latrice, when they're like talking, when they want to start a podcast and they don't know where to go. So what we did is we have this organization where we can all come together, learn from each other. We've even had some people collab with each other, so that's been really great. We usually
I love a good collab.
Exactly. Like it's really great when you have an organization and like people actually like become friends. It's like you meet people and you befriend people and then they become friends. That's always the best, right?
It's crazy. One of my coworkers, who's actually a friend now, because all the coworkers don't get to be friends, girl. It don't go like that. But one of my coworkers, who we are creating a friendship with each other. She recently started a podcast, and so we went to dinner this weekend, and we were just talking about her podcast, and she was saying, how she was inspired by me listening to my show and things like that. And I was telling her how, prior to this Rona, girl, going to like podcasting festivals, going to podcasting events or meetups and things like that, it's really, really helpful for new podcasters getting started, because one of the things she was saying is that, like, for her, she doesn't have anybody that she can talk to about her creative endeavors. And that's, stifling for her, because people look at you kind of, people who are not creative, they look at you with your creative ass like, oh Lord, you still doing this, bitch. Why you still doing, so it's difficult, because when you don't have other people who understand what it means to be a creative, then it's like you don't have anybody that you can share that piece of yourself with. So I get what you're saying, like being around other creatives and being around people who get it, being around people who understand, like when I say, oh Lord, bitch, I gotta do this editing, girl. I do not feel like doing this editing, or I can't figure out how to do my noise reduction. I got the air conditioner hum is in the back. How you do that? Like, having somebody that you can talk to about that is really helpful. So I love that you all have the Podcasters of New Jersey. I feel like we need to start something like that here in South Florida,
Definitely. No, definitely, for sure. I mean, and that's what makes it a lot better. I don't think people realize, like, especially when you're coming into podcasting or when you're creative, you sometimes don't know where to start at first, like I said. So it's really great when you find a community of people that share your views. And we don't realize how segmented we are here until, you look at a meetup and you're like, oh, you're just wondering, oh, how can I, learn, who can I learn from? How can I make my spot better? Then you see other people that have, like, the similar interests as you. I think that's really great. She was able to find that creative friend in you, because and the fact that you are able to like see that you just bring out, like, the positivity and the light in her and just in different people you meet. So I'm like, I can only imagine the great things she's going to take away and the tips she's going to take away from you and deal with that. Because, some people be hating. Also, people act like, you need an outlet, especially in the times we're in right now. You need something to talk about. Like, I really, that's why I kind of got into this too. Like, I really love the storytelling aspect of it and how you can release and just, say what you want within reason. But,
Within reason. Hey, Knowledge, thank you for joining us. So one of the things that I wanted us to talk about tonight, you talked about Podcasters Unlimited and all of the services that are offered through Podcasters Unlimited. When I was doing research for tonight, because, I be researching, girl. I be making sure I'm, on top of the thing. But when I was doing research for tonight, I was looking at Podcasters Unlimited and looking at all of the services you all offer: consulting, curriculum, collaboration, content. And, it got me thinking about, well, first of all, that's very much in alignment with what we do here at Afros and Audio, right? Which is why you all are coming and participating in the festival. We're gonna talk about that later. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh, it is Happy National Podcast Day, guys. I forgot about that. Thank you, Knowledge. So see, this is the perfect place for you to be on National Podcasting Day. Okay. But
when we booked this, I was like, oh wow, it's actual National Podcast Day.
yes, that's awesome. All right, so but I was thinking about as I was doing the research, it got me kind of thinking about, like all of the things that I had to learn in the beginning and all of the things that I struggled through. Some things I picked up pretty, relatively easily, but then some things were like really a struggle. But at the same time, kind of having this internal feeling like, oh, I can't afford to hire nobody. I can't afford to pay anybody. And it's like, when do you know when it's time to make that investment? Because I think not everybody is able or capable of making that investment right from the very beginning. So how do you know when it's time to invest in getting some outside help?
I think not trying to sound cliche, but when you figure out the level of commitment you want to make to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you really know how passionate you are into it, because when you look at the quality, like it's great. We always talk about you can start with your phone, you don't need much. But when you do have enough money to upgrade to an actual camera instead of your phone, or upgrade your laptop and certain things, it's a world of difference.
Yeah.
When you hear that that 38th or that 300th recording versus the first time you recorded,
Mm-hmm.
I think once you figure out, once you figure out the level of commitment you want to make to this, and you'll figure out what kind of help you want to enlist, that's when you know who to reach out to and how much of it you're willing to spend.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, because for some people it's a hobby, and then you have to look at, like what you're going to get out of it. Like if you only do this like once in a blue moon or once a month or something, it might be a waste for you to get, that $300 microphone system and all the bells and whistles if you're not sure how to use them. But if you do this like it's your job, and for like a lot of people it's the point where it is their job, then you got to take inventory into yourself and realize, it's not just, I'm not just getting this to get it, I'm investing in myself.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of quality do I want to put out?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's interesting. I chuckled because you talked about investing in like all of this advanced equipment like before you're ready. Girl, story time, okay?
Oh, I'm ready.
For my birthday 2 years ago, for my birthday 2 years ago, I did this whole campaign or whatever. Because listen, I celebrate my birthday. You know what I'm saying? So I did this birthday wish list on Amazon. And it was all equipment and things that, I wanted, or I felt like I needed, in order to kind of like take it to the next level. I had just really made the decision to like really pursue a creative lifestyle. And so I was like, okay, I need this and I need this and I need this. So one of those things was this, it was a Behringer board, right? So it was a little mini board, and it had like 8 outlets or some shit like that. Girl, mind you, I am a solo podcaster. So what the fuck I need 8 outlets for? I do not know. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. And so somebody actually gifted it to me. And it was completely anonymous. To this day, I still do not know who gifted me that Behringer. And it was so nice, and they left a little card. You can send a little note or whatever with the gift thing. And it was like something like, I'm so proud of you and, good luck and, this. And so it was like really touching. So I'm like, okay, Miss, yes, I'm going to figure this thing out. So
Yeah.
I start trying to use this Behringer and this board, and I'm just like, it's so many knobs. Like, what does all of this do? I'm confused. I don't know. I went to a podcasting festival
Yeah.
in October of that year. This is 2018, and I brought it with me in
So,
hopes that somebody could teach me how to use it. And
yeah.
so, long story short, I never learned how to use it. I ended up having to send it back to Amazon. I got a credit for it, so that person, they what their contribution still helped because I swapped it out for a Zoom H5, which is a lot simpler. It's a lot easier to use. I was like, okay, this got 4 knobs. I could figure these knobs out. You know what I'm saying? But I always think back to that moment. Like, well, when you said that, it immediately brought me back to that moment because, you know, you get excited when you're ready to make that leap. Like when you really identify yourself as a creative and you say, I'm going to be a creative, I'm going to be a podcaster, I'm going to live this lifestyle. You kind of go, head first and you jump all in there. And then you start getting into the thing and you realize how much you really don't know or how much information you really are lacking. And so what advice would you have for individuals who find themselves in the place where they done jumped into them waters, girl, and they realizing that it's a lot more involved than they thought it was, and they're contemplating just dropping everything?
Don't drop everything. Do not drop everything. Listen, you're gonna have moments like that, not even so much on the equipment base. Like you felt overwhelmed because of the type of equipment that you had this person gift to you, and that's a blessing, by the way.
It is. I cried. I cried like a baby, girl. Y'all know I be crying anyway. Anybody that follow me like on my socials and stuff, y'all know I be crying. But yeah, like I cried like a baby. It was so touching. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, like that's a blessing right there. I would say just research it, to be honest with you. Like just take it easy. Don't quit. And don't get over, it can be overwhelming at times, but I would first be like, remember this is something you want to do. It is really serious. Also, the fact that you have people that gifted that to you, or that might gift you a mic or something. Like I had a friend of mine, like they were really great. Shout out to my friend. They have a custom design company, Very Alive Customs. So they gifted me an actual mic to help me with podcasting because they heard that I was doing that. And it was something they weren't using anymore. And it really changes the quality of your sound. I would say there are people, remember the people that gifted you that pieces of equipment, that believed in you, had that faith. That's number 2. So number 3, research. So don't quit. Remember that people have that confidence in you as well. They want to see you do well. And then, just do your research after that. You may not know how to work all the 8 knobs now, but, start out with the 4, okay? And then, just keep learning. And also, not for nothing, there might be something better than those 8 knobs that come out in a year or 2 that you might know how to learn and work, that works faster, smarter than what you initially, was going to get. So don't stop.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Because you know what else too? The H5. So, I ended up buying the Zoom H5, which was more expensive, but I felt like it was a better purchase because it's much more portable. Like that H5, girl, I could throw that in my purse and go about my business. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a smaller package. I think for me, it was a lot more powerful. It did a lot more things, and I still could plug in, I could plug in 2 microphones if I'm doing an interview. I could plug in a headset. Girl, the H5 do shit I still ain't figured out how to use yet.
Figure it out.
Yes, I am going to figure it out, girl. I be all up on YouTube, girl. Zoom H5 and listen, I'm learning how to use this equipment, but you're absolutely right. I think, making sure that you just get the information that you need one way or another, doing the research, remembering why you're doing it, remembering the people that are, supportive of you and things like that. I think that's great advice. I think that's amazing advice. So in Podcasters Unlimited, what's like the number one thing that people ask for help with?
Well, there's a few different things. Goodness, what is the
Let's
number
do the,
one
let's
thing?
do the top three.
The number one thing people ask help with. I think it's structure. That's number one. A lot of the times with trying to figure out how to start, people find it difficult on what kind of format for them to have and how to just how to set up your podcast, because there's all kinds. There's people that do it live, that do it pre-recorded, and then just like how to segment everything. So really it's finding the format of your podcast is a major thing that people have like the most trouble like getting to figure out. And then I think number two would probably be length. Because a lot of the time people get fixated not so much on like just they get fixated on the format, but then they fixate on the length of time and how much time is too much time. It's like you don't want it to just be 5 minutes. It could be if that works for you, but you don't want it to be like 5 minutes. But then again, you don't want people to be nodding off after 3 hours.
Girl. Yeah.
And that's what people are really conscious about. And then I would say, so format is number one. Number two would be length. And then I would say number three would most likely be just finding the best place to host. I think because there's so many different hosting sites that promise you the best. And they're like, we're a one-stop shop, and it's like it can be so like overwhelming to figure out where you can actually start off first. And also like 3 hours is too long. Yeah, 3 hours is too long, but some people have shows and episodes that are like 2.5 to 3 hours long.
I feel like because I listen to the read like every week, like don't miss an episode, like where my episode's at, what y'all doing, you know what I'm saying? Like I listen to the read. And they do like 2 hour, 2.5 hour episodes. But I think that the content can carry that length of time, like it's engaging, it's interesting, it's, I'm into it the whole time. So I think that a part of like depending on your topic and depending on your style, depending on like how you show up on the mic and stuff like that, I think is what really determines how long your show should be. Because some people can carry a 2 hour show, a 3 hour show, but some people, girl, I be 5 minutes into it like, nah, sis, I ain't gonna be able to do this. This ain't it.
You want to fall asleep. Sometimes, like if I'm learning something new, or if it's like yes, your niche matters. It really depends on what your niche in particular is. Like some people can get away with having, like you said with the read, it works for them to have that long of a show. And your content definitely matters. Like if it's something that you're teaching somebody, like if your niche is like to teach somebody about like how to study for the GRE or something like that, or how to like incorporate IA into your podcast or something, like it could be 30 minutes, it could be like a reasonable time, and you want to make sure that when you're teaching somebody something and it's audio, depending on how they learn, they might not get it if you're over the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And depending on how you actually like explain it in that amount of time, they might not get it. So you just want to make sure you have the proper format and your time and your niche fits within your content. So I think that's really important. Like some people can get away with it. Like I love the Squadcast. I listen to that. They can get away with,
what
having the squad cast with
This
like,
podcast? Okay.
yeah, it's with different comedians from, I don't know if you've heard of All Dev Digital.
Yes.
Yeah. Like they have their own like the squad cast, and that's a virtual podcast, but it's also an actual audio podcast you can listen to too. And they can get away with that. They be going on for like over an hour, hour and a half, but it's conversational. It's them cracking jokes with each other, their friends. So it's like when I listen to it, I'm like, this is like when I kiki with my friends, with my homeboys, with my homegirls. So like I'm in the conversation.
Yes, yes. So I know that you are going to be participating in the Afros and Audio Virtual Festival, which is taking place on November 14th and 15th. And you will be presenting for the Pod 101-ish, right?
Yes.
Panel discussion. And so my understanding is that it's kind of like, podcasting basics, right? What's the ish?
Podcast 101-ish. So the ish is kind of just like our flair to it. So we teach you the one-on-one, the basics of podcasting, but we add a little bit of our own like flair to how we do things in particular, because not everyone does it the same way. There is a format and there's a set way to do stuff. Like there's the same basics you'll hear, but you get our take on it. Okay, and from our experiences. I think that's the difference between anything you'll ever listen to or see, is we get from our experiences. Like you get the basics, but then also it's like sometimes your basic information doesn't fit into the reality of you actually like, putting it all together. Like you can say, okay, make sure you have the format set, make sure you have this in mind, but okay, it's 8:00, this is when this person's supposed to come on. So you're waiting, you have that Zoom call, you just waiting, you're ready. And then I'm telling you, yeah, so I'm gonna be 15 minutes late. What are you gonna do? Or then when they're there on time, and then all of a sudden your Wi-Fi comes out, how do you navigate through that? How do you keep your composure? There's, or say that one person forgets to turn off their mic after you told them.
Yeah.
When that the water bottle that's swilling in the background comes on, it's like how to navigate through different things, basically.
Listen, you talked about look, I got my little laptop over here, girl. I be on it. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to prep a little something for later. But anyway, you talk about like people talking over each other and things like that. Girl, I hate that. Like on a podcast that has, first of all, I feel like it should probably 9 times out of 10, there does not need to be more than 3 people on the mic at one time. But every now and then, somebody like they can make it work. But I think it requires people to have decent mic skills and decent interviewing skills, like being able, like communication skills is what I'm looking for. And so we do have somebody gonna be talking about that at the festival as well. So y'all make sure y'all join in for that. But it bothers me so much because, and to the point where I can't even like listen to those kind of shows, because even if what you're talking about is of interest to me, I can't get over the noise. You know what I'm saying? When everybody trying to talk all at the same time, it just sounds like noise to me, and I don't have time for that, girl. I can't. My ears just like, what is happening? What is going on?
And so, that's why we're here. That's why we're here for you. We're here for everybody to make sure you learn the basics, but then we give you our spin on it, how to navigate through different things.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. So what is, if you could give one general tip, right? Because we ain't going to give away all the goodies right now, right? Because y'all got to go ahead and go to afrosandaudio.com and get your tickets or whatever. And we're going to give y'all a code. And actually has a code that you can use to get 10% off. And so I'm going to post that code toward the end of our discussion tonight. So make sure you stay to the end so you could get your 10% off code, all right? But if you could give just one little taste of a little something that they can look forward to getting from you, what would be your one tip that you would have to like a panel style podcast to ensure that nobody like that everybody's voice is heard and that the audio comes out clean?
One tip that I would have for a panel style podcast. Oh, goodness. Because anything can happen in that situation.
Anything.
Walking in. I think the number one tip I would have in that case would definitely be, goodness, that's a good question. Oh, thank you, yeah. I think, yeah, definitely I would say just like keeping in mind, like I feel like people, what you were saying before about people reacting and talking over each other, I think the best way to deal with that is just to be mindful and just be present in that panel. I think the more present you are in that situation, the better. I think when you look at like really just, and when I say be present, I mean like, you know how they say like if you're gonna be there, be there. I think that's really important, especially in a panel discussion, because you know, like someone could walk in and you could be in the middle of something, you know, like, but if you're not paying attention to your surroundings in that moment and you're trying to explain something, that could affect something important you're trying to say. So I would be mindful of your surroundings in that aspect. A lot of times when we're talking, we don't like listen, like we're not in the conversation. Like you and me, it's like we're in the conversation. We've seen each other before. We're used to like each other's mannerisms and stuff, and we can tell and like get cues from each other of like, you know, like when we can go into the conversation and find our spot. I think like really just like keeping that in mind, just being present in the moment helps a lot with that. So I would say definitely like being aware and being like extra cognizant of, you know, who is on your panel and how people are doing and just your whole like background. Being really aware is important.
I agree with you 100%. I think, and that's not just in podcasting, but in life. I'm really big on communication. I'm a therapist by trade. And so I just, communication is the foundation for everything that we experience in our lives, right? And so I think when we spend so much time waiting to say the next thing, then we miss what's being said in that moment. So I think I agree with you 100%. Being present, being in the moment, and being an active participant in the conversation instead of just having like, you know, I think sometimes we plan ourselves to death. You know what I'm saying? Like we have this plan and it's like, I want to say this and I want to say this and we're going to touch on this and then we're going to do that. And I'd like to prepare. I do prepare whenever I'm doing an interview or doing an episode or whatever like that. But I like for things to just come naturally and be natural and to be in the moment. So I think that's a great tip. So Talib has a question. He says, how does Podcasters Unlimited choose who to work with, and how do you discern someone's commitment to podcasting? That's a really good question.
So what we do is we tend to like look at people within our community with our organization community, but also we accept, you know, other people that just happen to stumble upon our site or whatever have you. So really a lot of it is from Podcasters of New Jersey, our organization, and then any other organizations that we're a part of or any groups. Like we have the Women of Color podcast that we're a part of on Facebook. So like, you know, if there's someone maybe from there that wants to, we could also reach out to them. Just really, you find people that, you know, you want to work with by being in spaces with other podcasters who have the same goals and have like similar visions as you, or even like ones that stand out that you think that could bring a different element to your podcast. So really just by being in different organizations and spaces that are, that involve podcasting and podcasters, and then people within your own network. And then how you discern someone's commitment to podcasting. So we actually offer a consultation. So you can actually go onto our website, podcastersunlimited.net, and you can go on there and you can email any one of us. I'm available. Also, Denise is available. You can reach out to any one of us and you can tell us about, your podcast. We can set up a call and a meeting. And then you can tell us about what vision you have for your particular podcast and just give us an explanation on where you see it going. Then we can consult you further from there. We have different tiers that could match your podcasting. We can assess what kind of help you would need in that aspect. Some people got it all together and they just need promotional help. Some people need you to hold their hand, and we're there to hold your hand. We don't judge you or nothing like that, but we're there to help you and just be there with you through the process and help you with production and even getting guests and stuff. So really, we discern your commitment based upon like the conversation that we have with you, and just with getting what your goals and aspirations are with podcasting. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm looking on your website now, and my next question was going to be, you all have like an entire network of shows and podcasts that are under your umbrella, right? And so it's such a diverse very eclectic group of shows that you all have put together. How do you determine, so we talk about clients and things like people you want to work with in that way, but how do you identify what types of shows you want to include under your network?
So it really just depends on what is in our heart to speak about at that point in time. Under our network, like we have Poetry Globe. They talk about, they have like Steven, he's really dope. He will talk with different spoken word people because, he loves poetry. He loves talking to different artists and things like that in that medium. We have Podcasters Unlimited, where we talk about the how-to of podcasting. And then we have Pod Cypher, which is my personal favorite, because we talk about social justice and pop culture, and I love pop culture and all of that. So it's really about just figuring out what is on your heart and what kind of story and like what kind of conversation you want to have with people at the moment. I think that's the really best way for you to determine what you want on your network. We even have like our newest one is really cool, Dissecting Your Perspective, where our one of the guys, Jelani, he'll actually talk to different people and get their perspective on like different controversial topics, because like sometimes people's opinions and stuff will conflict, but I think the best part is when we're able to get to a point where we can talk out things with each other and get the different perspectives. So I think it's really just about what's on your heart to talk about. That's how we determine what we want, what kind of content we want for our network.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, Ty is asking another question. He's saying, how do you get aspiring podcasters out of their head and build their confidence to go for it?
I just tell them, I let them know. I'm just really honest with people when they tell me stuff. So I'm calm about it, and I just like internalize what people are saying. So I'll just let the person know, what you have is worth talking about, and you have a voice. Use your voice. Tell your story. Like I was having a conversation with someone there that there's actually another project we're working on, but y'all will see that later on. So
Okay.
not now, but I'm gonna talk once it comes out. Y'all will be the first few to know. Telling that person today.
Exclusive little content. Yes.
Got some more content coming, but I was telling that particular person today, yeah, you're gonna be in your head about it. You're gonna be nervous. I'm in my head and I'm nervous about a lot of stuff when I talk all the time. But what you have to say is worth people hearing. So you can be in your head for a minute, but it is worth hearing. And I feel like with you being in your head, the best way to get out of your head is preparation. And, just building, like, preparation is key. So the more prepared you are for certain things, the more confident you'll be about certain things. Like when you know how to do, like it's like when with anything, with your profession, or like, if you're trying to learn how to, be like a makeup artist or something, or like when you're trying to, like, learn how to be a stylist or something, or, even any profession in business, you have to gain experience, and you have to have those uncomfortable moments, and
Yeah.
to just push through. I think it's really about, realizing you have worth, you matter. I let people know what you have to say is worth people hearing. And as long as you keep that in mind, it doesn't matter what any negativity you hear from people. Like because there's a difference between criticism and negativity, obviously. but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And we're talking about new podcasters. You mentioned that sometimes you in the past have struggled with confidence and things like that. I'm always interested to know how people got into podcasting. What is your intro to podcasting story?
My intro to podcasting story. So I was in my third year at Rutgers, and I wanted to gain some marketing experience. So I got an internship with the Love Zone USA radio channel, and that is when I met Denise and the general manager at the time, Mike T. And they had different shows that they, had within that radio channel, and he was still trying to build up that network. So it started out as me, posting things on Instagram, getting the word out about like the different shows and stuff. And then it got to a point where, like, he taught me about, like, gaining a structure. And even Denise, she helped me, like, learn about how to structure a show and everything, and how to manage a show. So from there, I learned how to produce different shows and stuff. And I was actually the producers for the shows on there as well. And then once, once they went on a hiatus on that front and everything, then I started working with Denise with Podcasters of New Jersey, and then we decided to do Pod Cypher. And at first I thought, she was like, hey, I want to do this organization. I'm like, great, I'm here to support. And then later on she wanted me to be her co-organizer, and she asked me to be her co-organizer. And I was like, okay, I'm down for it.
I'm putting you to work, sis.
Exactly. I'm like, that sounds really cool. It sounds really dope. I'm like, I just like meeting different people and learning their different stories and stuff, because I'm like, I love that part about podcasting and just about people in general. And then it got to a point where she wanted to do Pod Cypher, and I was like, okay, that's great. I'm really down to do Pod Cypher. Like, and I was ready to be like, okay, so we could talk about this topic and all this, and we could bring this current, and you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, we could do this. And she's like, no, like, also have you host. And I was like, I've never hosted before. So I was like, oh, okay. So
you want me to jump on a mic on the other side? Okay, all right.
I'm like, because I spent the last like 2 years, I want to say, behind a computer screen, messaging people like during the show and organizing it and putting topics together and getting guests and stuff together. And now it's like, you want me to hop on a mic? Okay. So that's how I got into hosting and podcasting. And from then on, we established our company. And ever since then, I've just been helping other people, like tell their story and stuff. And like, if they want help or advice on like how to do certain things or formatting, I'm there as well. So, the rest is kind of history from there.
Yeah. So once you got, I love your story, by the way. Once you got in front of the microphone, right? So like you spent all that time, 2 years behind the microphone, kind of like, producing and making shit happen, right?
Yeah.
Once you got in front of the microphone, obviously you enjoyed it because, you're still doing it, right? So what is it for you about being in front of the microphone that made you kind of fall in love with it?
I just like the idea of finally being able to like say what's on my mind and having like just, just expressing myself. That's what I love about being on the microphone and about hosting because,
Mhm.
now you can actually like instead of just formatting it to my because it got to a point where it was like, it was there were certain ideas that we would collab on. So it got to a point where it was like this is what I think, and then this is why I think it's worth talking about and saying. So it got to a point where I was like, let me just say what's on my heart, just say what's on my mind. It's about just expressing yourself and releasing
Mhm.
yourself, especially when there's like other points where you work because I do have like a 7 to 4 that I do, and when you're in like a space where you gotta work, yeah. when
I
you're in a
had to, I had to do the math in my head, girl. I was like a 7 to 4. Okay, that's work hours. That's
It's like when you're in a space where you're working and you're doing what you're told all the time, and then you can come into a space where you can be creative and express how you're feeling about certain things. I think that's really beautiful and it's a nice release. So that's how I fell in love with hosting and with, the microphone. Just, finally being able to, say what I want. I'm like, oh, I can say what I feel like saying, within reason. I like to
yeah.
stress a lot.
I guess within reason, girl. I be saying all kind of ignorant shit on my show.
You're good though, but like you're an expert at what you say. It's like what you say is like really funny and like it could be out there, but I'm like there's a point to it being out there. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love being in front of the microphone as well, but I do find myself more and more interested in what's happening behind the scenes as well, you know. I mean, I think to a certain extent, most podcasters are producers as well. We just don't necessarily like see ourselves as producers because we just making our show, but if you are doing all of the things to put the show together, if you are designing the show, then you are a producer, and so I love being in front of the microphone. I don't think I'll ever not be in front of the microphone. I love being in front of the camera. I don't think I'll, ever not be in front of the camera. But I'm also really falling in love with like all of the little intricacies of behind the scenes, and like really, getting myself into this groove of, or like preparing myself to not be the one in front of the microphone. Like I haven't had that yet where I've produced for other people. But that's something that I definitely am interested in exploring, So I love how the world of podcasting really gives us an opportunity to like see ourselves in all of these different types of roles and to like play around with different things and just kind of make our own path, as Ty likes to say, create our own table,
Right.
and I think that we really are just scratching the surface on what Black creatives are capable of, and I think that's an amazing thing. So we are getting a little short on time. We have about 12 minutes left. And Talib has one more question. He says, what is the long-term vision for Podcasters Unlimited and the New Jersey podcasting community?
Okay, so long-term vision is for us to bring more podcasters onto our network with, different visions, different things to talk about. Like I said, we really we talk about, things that are on our hearts, and we also like to always like learn and grow, and that's a major thing we all love to do within that network. So, we hope to have different types of genres on there. We hope to have a series on there as well. That's a really big thing now, having a podcast series,
Like a
um,
scripted series?
scripted series, and
Ooh.
then also having, some of these shows go to television. So that's a major thing as well. that we
Yeah.
hope to have on frame. And then for the New Jersey podcasting community, we're trying to take over the tri-state.
Yes.
Just
Oh.
just have it grow all throughout New Jersey, have a podcasters of New Jersey, everywhere. Okay.
Yes, I love that. I love the goals and the ambitions and girl, if y'all looking for a voice actor, girl, holla at me. I ain't from New Jersey, but I'm from New York. It's a new, I mean, I'm from New Orleans. It's a new thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but I love um I'm really in love with Black people and Black creativity. And I think that for as absolutely devastating as this quarantine has been for hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people,
Yeah.
as a creative, I also see like this inside kind of thing that's happening as well, like within the Black creative community, where it just seems like creativity right now is at an all-time high. Like there is so much that's being generated, like so much creativity, so many different things are happening right now because people have more time than what they had before. Unfortunately, some of that time is because they ain't working, but nonetheless, they have more time than what they had before. People have more, access to information that they need in order to bring these things to life, and more time to research the things that they don't know, and so I'm very excited about the direction that the Black creative community is going in, and I'm very proud of you all. Not that it necessarily means anything, but I'm very proud of you all to be two women of color who are saying, like Ty always says, we are just going to create our own table. We're not going to be waiting for somebody to come and tell us what we can and cannot do. We're just going to go out there and we're going to make it happen, and we're going to make that shit huge. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to bring some of our, Black and brown friends along for the ride with us. We all can make this come up together. And so I'm very, very proud of you all and inspired by everything that y'all are doing. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you out here in these social streets.
Well, first of all, it means a lot to us. Okay, so it does mean something. The support that you give us, that Talib gives us. I see Alexandra from Think Like a Boss is also out here. Hi. The support she gives us as well, and the love that y'all just continue to give me and Denise while we do all of this, it means a lot to us. Okay, it means that we're on the right track, and we're just gonna keep pushing through that. So to hear about more of what we are doing and to hear about more content and more about our meetup events. So for our meetup events, you can follow us at Podcasters of New Jersey on Instagram. And also you can follow us on Facebook as well, at Podcasters of New Jersey. And we post a lot about our different meetup events and stuff. And also we have different podcasters on there that will, showcase different pieces of their work as well. So you can find people that you can collab with and stuff. And you can even get notices about, when we'll go live on Instagram. So you can talk with us. Yep, that's it right there. So you can talk with us, live, like in the moment. And we have a lot of great guests on there as well. We even had someone last week that talked about how you can bring more traffic to your different sites. Her name, yeah, it was really great. We had someone come on there, and she talking about search engine optimization. So there's a lot of knowledge you can gain from coming to our virtual meetups. Usually we meet in Newark, but because of COVID, as you all know, we have to social distance and do all this virtually. So
Yes.
Follow us
Yeah.
at Podcasters of New Jersey for more information on our meetup events. And then with Podcasters Unlimited, if you want to join our network, if you want help, if you want to learn more about consulting and, you know, different opportunities available with Podcasters Unlimited, you can follow us at Podcasters Unlimited on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter too. And then you can go to our site, podcastersunlimited.net, for more information there. And you can get in touch with us there as well. And you can follow, you know, Denise at Denise Duran. I think it's Denise Duran 82 on Instagram. And then me, I'm Ann Smith, A Smith 1443 on Instagram as well. So,
All right. Well, listen, we talked earlier that Ann and Denise and some of their other friends. Wait, let me pull it up here, girl, because you know I got it. You know I'm always ready, girl. So Ann, Denise, Wise, and I'm gonna say this wrong. Taranza. Is that right? You don't know, girl. That's a
with confidence. That's the important thing.
If you're gonna be wrong strong. You know what I'm saying? So, but they will be participating in the Pod 101-ish panel discussion at this year's Afros in Audio Virtual Festival. Once again, it's taking place November 14th and 15th, and Anne actually has a 10% off code for you all. I just posted her code. So you go to afrosinaudio.com and use the code AFAU20AS. All right? Afros Audio 20 and Smith. It's not that difficult. Make it happen. You get 10% off your ticket. Why would you not want to get 10% off your ticket? Because you know you're going to buy a ticket. Like, you know you're going. So stop playing. You know you're going. So if you're going, you may as well get a little discount or whatever in the process, okay? Afrosinaudio.com. We have over 45 different speakers and panelists that are going to be coming and just providing all kinds of information. Truth be told, I feel like the ticket price is too low, but you know, that ain't my job to set the ticket price cost or whatever. That was set before I even came around or whatever, but it's a steal. So if you can get an additional 10% off, I feel like you just need to go ahead and make that happen. All right. Afrosinaudio.com. Use the code AFAU20AS to get 10% off on your ticket price. And come on and see Ann and them have a conversation about Pod 101-ish. That's how I read it. I read it like Pod 101-ish, like you know, we're gonna talk about some Pod 101-ish. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna give you, like I said, we're gonna give you all the tea, all the basics on, you know, how we do things. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Oh, look, Denise is here. Hey, Denise, girl. We just talked about you, girl. It was good things, though. He said all good things. I promise.
We be in the you know, we be in the building, and people need to make sure that they definitely get their tickets. Okay, let me tell you something. Like, it was great last year. Me and Denise actually went to the Afros and Audio Festival last year in Brooklyn. It was amazing. There were so many different creatives with such a large amount of knowledge on podcasting and on how to, you know, build your brand and everything. And just thank you. We just really want to thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to learn so much, and also, you know, to also help people, you know, learn a lot more about podcasting. It's really good. Like the work that you and Talib do with Afros and Audios is amazing. So, and listen, there's a lot of other people. We're not going to name them. They be charging whole arms and legs for the information. Just a crumb of the information that y'all be given. Just a crumb of it. So people need to go ahead and get their tickets.
Yes, yes. Access to information, you know, awareness that there's a lack of information, and then being able to have access to that information is is a real struggle in our community. And so we are thankful to be able to, bring that information to our community. So y'all make sure that you go to afrosandaudio.com and get your tickets. Use the code AFAU20AS to get 10% off. That is Ann's code. So get 10% off on your ticket price. You may as well go ahead and make it happen. Okay? All right. And thank you so much. This is awesome. We're going to have to do this again real soon, girl. I'm working on some new stuff, so I'm going to have y'all on my show next time. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Once again, my name is Latrice Sampson Richards. You can follow me on Instagram at Latrice Sampson Richards, Facebook at Latrice Sampson Richards, or go to my website, latricesampsonrichards.com. We love y'all, and we appreciate y'all. Bye.